Hello and welcome back to the box office, guys. Before we get going, boxofficeboxing.com is now live. Have been having issue uploading articles, but it should be resolved by this Thursday, so go ahead, click. I also upload my videos there as well. Social media handles are attached to the description of this video, so go ahead and give those a follow. As this channel grows, so will I, and I will branch out a little bit more and show a little more personality in those applications. But moving over to this week, we have Jaime Munguia versus Jimmy Kelly. These last couple of weeks, we've had very highly contested fights, high-level quality bouts, championship bouts. We're transitioning over to some showcase fights. We have two showcase cards that two different promotional companies are showing. The one I'm talking about in this video is that of Jaime Munguia versus Jimmy Kelly. Going to be on the zone this weekend. This bout is one that is looking to keep Jaime Munguia very busy as he's been fighting on a consistent basis, looking for bigger and better fights, but also improving his skill set along the way. He's fighting Jimmy Kelly, who's been a career contender, never being able to get over that hump. Will this be the one fight that he gets to get over the hump and potentially pull off one of the biggest upsets in boxing history? We'll see this Saturday. But let's take a look at both fighters, and we're going to start off by looking at the Vegas favorite, Jaime Munguia. Jaime Munguia is going to be entering the ring at 39-0, almost 40 fights of professional experience. 31 of those wins coming by the way of knockout. His height is listed at 6 foot tall, and his reach was not registered on BoxRec. His last 3 fights were against Demetrius Ballard, where he won by TKO in the 3rd round, Gabe Rosado, in which was his most impressive victory of his career in my eyes, unanimous decision there, and then Camilo Serrameta, where he stopped him in the 6th round. As I mentioned, Jaime Munguia is looking to stay busy, looking for the right opportunity to fight that bigger opponent. Maybe a more household name to finally put him in the top 15, top 10 conversation in boxing. He is a developing fighter, he is a young fighter, and Golden Boy is taking his time with him. And he's fighting again here at the Honda Center in Anaheim, California, where his last bout did very well against Gabe Rosado. This fight, though, is not against Gabe Rosado, so we're going to see if the fan base continues to support him despite these showcase and one-sided bouts. Jimmy Kelly, on the other hand, is going to enter the ring at 26 wins, 2 losses. 10 of those wins coming by the way of KO, and he has been stopped 1 time himself. His fight is also 6 foot, and his reach, interestingly enough, was not found on BoxRec either. His last 3 fights were against Kanat Islam, where he won a majority decision that went 10 rounds, Harry Matthews, where he won by KO in the 3rd round, and Miguel Aguilar, where he won in or by points. If you're interested on who he lost to, he actually lost to Dennis Hogan in 2018 and was stopped by Liam Smith in 2015. Both fighters which have lost to Jaime Munguia. So you can see there's a skill gap there. To throw more wood into the fire, his last 3 fights haven't all gone the 10 rounds or even been scheduled for 10 rounds. Kanat Islam was scheduled for 10 and it went to 10. But Harry Matthews was scheduled for 6 rounds, and the Miguel Aguilar bout was also scheduled for 6 rounds. So as of late, he hasn't been having a lot of rounds in his resume. Now, I was looking for odds for these bouts. As I've mentioned before in this channel, odds change and are thrown out there. The bigger, the better the fight. The more international viewership it's going to get. This fight, being a showcase fight, isn't gathering a lot of interest, so you're not going to see a lot of bets or even prop bets. You might get the traditional TKO, what round, but none of the do both fighters hit the canvas type bet. This is a one-sided fight, and I did a little bit of research, and it's not going to be anything worth sprinkling on, as Jaime Munguia is anticipated on being anything from a minus 700 to minus 1,500. It's just a one-sided on paper, and that's part of the reason why the odds are not out yet. Moving forward, we're going to take a look at the keys of victory, since we were unable to really discuss the odds. But the keys of victory are we're going to start with the Vegas favorite, Jaime Munguia. Jaime Munguia. First things first. For this bout, nice and composed. It's easy to look for that one-punch knockout, since you've been getting those knockouts early and often. And looking at someone with the record of Jimmy Kelly, seeing his opposition, who he's fought, who he's won, who he's lost to, and think I can get this guy out, and kind of start overlooking him. So stay nice and composed, nice and relaxed, and work off that jab. Everything off that jab. And the reason why you want to work off that jab is because when you get to setting down and throwing your punches and bunches, you want to start off with that jab so you're not reaching with the right hand or with a hook or overhand right. If you're a very aggressive fighter, so you don't want to just come in with your head in a straight line, work off that jab and come in and cut the distance off that way. Key number 2 is going to be work on your defense and footwork. As I mentioned before, Jaime Munguia, this is a showcase fight. So showcase some of that defense, some of that footwork. Add wrinkles to your game and take a little bit more of a different approach now in this type of fight, where there's a little bit less of a threat opposed to a championship fight. Find out what you can and can't do. Find out what works and what doesn't work. One of those being working on your defense and working on your footwork. Something I noticed for that Bullard fight is that you were trying to be on your toes early on, but what happened was anytime Bullard would shoot or even feint, you would take a bounce straight back. So try to focus on not going straight back every time you try to or get out of harm's way. Working on that defense, I did see you use that hip movement and head movement to make a miss. But what happened after you made a miss was that you didn't make him pay. So I want to see you put it all together in this bout so that you can work on your defense, work on your footwork, and just keep adding wrinkles to your game, because in a sense, this is a developmental fight. Even though we hate to say, oh, he is a developing fighter, he is a developing prospect, considering you have 39 fights, that is what you are, and this is what it is, a developmental fight, a showcase fight, adding wrinkles to your game and improving your chances when you go step up to bigger competition. And number 3 is going to be the Jaime Munguia special, throwing punches in bunches. Make sure that you go in and you throw 1, 2, 3 punches, or 1, 2, 3, 4 punches at a time. Don't resort to trying to land one punch. Mix it up, head, body, body, head, so that you can increase your chances of breaking him down. If this fight does get to the second half of the fight, you've invested enough to the body so that he doesn't have enough in the gas tank, and him not seeing 10 rounds in his second to last and previous bout to that is going to put you in a good position to get this guy out of there. So Jaime Munguia, just stay nice and composed, work on your defense, your footwork, and then punches and bunches, and you're going to do what everyone's expecting you to do and get this guy out of there before the final bell rings. Now, Jimmy Kelly. This is a tall task that we're asking you to do in pulling off an upset against a superior, on paper, fighter. Jimmy Kelly, your keys, step 1, is going to be keep your back off the ropes. You go back and you look at that Liam Smith fight. Where he got you and where he broke you down was when your back was up against the ropes. Jaime Munguia is a bigger fighter than Liam Smith and a harder puncher considering the weight difference. So keep your back off of those ropes. Angle out. Use your defense. If you have to clinch to get space, clinch. But don't let your back be sitting up against those ropes and you trying to fire off the ropes. You're giving him all the leverage and you're playing to his game, and that is a recipe for disaster. Keep your back off the ropes. Key number 2 is going to be first and be last. What that means is Jaime Munguia has a tendency of throwing a lot of punches and bunches. What you want to do is you want to start jabbing at him before he can get his combination going. And if he does throw a punch or two, you want to finish off with your combination last. You want to beat him to the first punch and beat him to the last punch of every flurry. Because what that's going to do is you're going to make him a little hesitant if you can land enough punches so that he doesn't start letting his hands go as frequently as often. So you want to be first, you want to be last, along with keeping your back up against the ropes. And key number 3 is going to be try to push him back. Try to have him fight with his back up against the ropes. Don't let him come in with leverage, with full momentum, very comfortable throwing 1, 2s, and 3s, leading with those hooks. No, try to push him back. If you guys get close, clinch. Let the referee set you apart. But push him back with punches, head movement, and coming over the top and around his guard and his punches. If you can start pushing him back, maybe you can start developing a little bit of momentum to start racking up points and eventually putting doubt into his head, the judge's head, and everyone's heads so that you can pull off a massive underdog victory. You do these 3 things, give yourself a chance. Now, as far as my prediction for this bout goes, this is just too much of a one-sided mismatch for my liking. Usually I would say sprinkle a little bit something, the odds are too good to pass up, but I see it as a one-sided mismatch. Although Jaime Munguia has had some mental lapses before where he doesn't look the greatest, I just feel like he's going to win this bout. This is catering to his technique, catering to his skill set, and just catering for him to showcase and win by knockout. Thus, I think Golden Boy does need to kind of put him on the fast track, but for this fight, he wins by knockout in my book. Let me know what you guys think, guys. Box office, talk to you guys next week. Take care.